Now to the Senate's worldwide threats hearing from yesterday. You're looking at Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes, who is joining us from the North Lawn at the White House with the latest. Nancy, good morning. This was some really eye-opening questioning yesterday. Bring us up to speed.
Right. And this was a really important hearing, Errol, because it was the first time that U.S. intelligence officials were testifying openly to Congress since the war broke out almost 3 weeks ago. So everyone wanted to know what they had to say about the president's claim that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States. They were pressed on some of the conflicting claims that have been coming from this administration about the nuclear threat that Iran posed or did not pose before the war.
The only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False.
Speaking to the Senate Wednesday, the director of national intelligence tried to explain why the White House claimed at the start of the war that Iran posed an imminent nuclear threat, when the official U.S. intel assessment states the opposite, that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated in U.S. strikes last summer.
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the president
here's the problem.
Based on a volume
no,
of
it is
information
precisely
that he receives.
It is precisely your responsibility to determine what constitutes a threat to the United States. This is the worldwide threats hearing.
It's not the first time senior administration officials have been at odds over the state of Iran's nuclear enrichment program.
They're not enriching right now.
If they've been enriching well beyond the number that you need for civil nuclear.
The mixed messages are drawing new scrutiny after President Trump's top counterterrorism advisor, Joe Kent, resigned this week over the justification for war.
Who's in charge of when we decide to go to war or not?
Kent shared his views last night with Tucker Carlson.
There was no intelligence that said, hey, on whatever day it was, March 1st, the Iranians are going to launch this big sneak attack.
Trump dismissed Kent's criticisms earlier this week.
I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security.
I asked the president's press secretary about that yesterday.
Why would he name someone to run the Counterterrorism Center who he thought was weak on security?
The president gave Joe Kent a chance. He thought he was a good guy with good military experience, and unfortunately, he proved he was not up for the job.
Multiple sources told CBS News last night that Kent is under investigation by the FBI in connection with the leaking of classified documents. Sources say that this investigation predates Kent's decision to resign this week. The FBI so far has had no comment, and Kent has yet to respond to our request for comment as well. Errol?
Nancy, I want to ask you about one other headline out of D.C. today. These reports of drone sightings that have people in the administration specifically concerned. What more can you tell us about that?
Right. And the reason that they're concerned is because these unidentified drones were sighted one evening over a U.S. Army base in Washington, D.C. It's a small base where a lot of big names happen to live, including the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense. There's a lot of officer housing there as well. And so officials say they're not sure who these drones belong to, so they may have been they may have been innocent, they may not have been, but it's a concern because there is this stepped up threat around the world right now at U.S. embassies and U.S. facilities because of the ongoing war in Iran. So they're investigating.
All right. Thank you, Nancy. We'll stay close to your reporting throughout the day.